Breaking. The footage leaking from inside the Oval Office shows something Washington hasn't seen in decades. President Donald Trump, the man who built his empire on confrontation, sitting opposite Zohran Mamdani, New York City's incoming Democratic Socialist mayor, praising him, not tolerating him, not negotiating with him, praising him. And what followed wasn't just a photo opportunity. It was a detonation that has sent shockwaves through the entire Republican establishment, fracturing alliances, triggering resignations, and raising one terrifying question for MAGA loyalists. Has Trump just abandoned them? The meeting was scheduled as routine. Mayor-elect visits president. Standard protocol. But within 90 seconds of Mamdani entering the White House, sources confirm the atmosphere shifted. Trump, known for his brutal takedowns of progressive politicians, extended his hand with what witnesses describe as genuine warmth. The cameras captured the moment. Trump smiled. Not the calculated grin he uses for foreign dignitaries, not the forced courtesy he shows establishment Republicans. This was different. This was authentic. And it sent tremors through every Republican power broker watching. What happened next has become the most dissected political exchange of the year. Trump turned to the press pool and said something no one expected. I'm very confident that he can do a very good job. He was talking about Mamdani, a self-described socialist. The same politician Trump's own UN ambassador, Elise Stefanik, had publicly called a jihadist just weeks earlier. The same progressive whose entire political identity stands in opposition to everything MAGA represents. And Trump was endorsing him, publicly, in the Oval Office, on camera. Senior White House aides immediately understood what was happening. This wasn't strategy, this was instinct. Trump saw something he values above ideology: effectiveness. Mamdani had won New York City's mayoral race against a divided Democratic establishment, had unified fractured coalitions, had dominated media cycles without traditional party backing. Trump respects winners. And Mamdani had won. The calculation was instantaneous. The fallout would be catastrophic. Within hours, leaked audio began circulating through Republican congressional offices. It's a recording from a closed-door session immediately after the meeting. Trump is heard saying, "This guy gets it. He knows how to fight the establishment. That's what we need." One aide reportedly responded, asking about Republican candidates who had supported Trump's agenda for years. Trump's reply, according to 3 separate sources who've heard the tape: "They don't win like this. He does." The reaction was seismic. Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene, Trump's most vocal defender in Congress, issued a statement within 2 hours. It was brief, furious, and unprecedented. If the president has decided to embrace socialism, he has lost me. By midnight, sources inside her office confirmed she was preparing her resignation from Congress. Not a retirement announcement, not a quiet exit, a protest resignation, the first direct revolt from Trump's inner circle since he reclaimed the White House. But Greene wasn't alone. Text message threads between conservative House members, obtained by multiple outlets, reveal absolute panic. One senior Republican congressman wrote, "He's legitimizing everything we've fought against." Another responded, "It's worse. He's giving them cover." Every progressive in America just got ammunition. A third message, sent from a number traced to a Trump 2024 campaign official, simply read, "We're finished." The strategic implications are staggering. Mamdani walked into that meeting representing everything Trump's base was mobilized to oppose: democratic socialism, progressive taxation, expanded social programs, police reform. He walked out with a presidential endorsement. And Trump's base, the millions who see him as their protection against radical leftist policies, are now forced to reconcile an impossible contradiction. Either Trump has betrayed them, or their understanding of what Trump stands for was always incomplete. Intelligence sources within the Democratic Party leadership are equally stunned. One senior strategist admitted off the record, "We have no idea what Mamdani offered him, but whatever it was, Trump took it." Speculation is rampant. Was it a deal on federal funding for New York infrastructure? A private agreement on immigration enforcement that gives Trump political victories while protecting New York's undocumented populations? Or something deeper, something transactional that neither side wants exposed? What's confirmed is this: Trump and Mamdani spoke privately for 47 minutes after the public remarks. No aides, no note-takers, no official record. When they emerged, both men looked, according to one reporter present, giddy. Trump personally walked Mamdani to his motorcade, something he rarely does for anyone. And as Mamdani's car pulled away, Trump turned to his chief of staff and said 5 words that have since been repeated in every political media outlet across the country. I want to work with him. Republican donors are now making emergency calls. Super PACs are freezing ad spending. And the MAGA movement, for the first time since Trump descended that golden escalator, is asking a question they never thought they'd have to ask. Who is Donald Trump actually loyal to? The White House has refused to clarify. Mamdani's office has issued only a brief statement thanking the president for his time. And somewhere, in the silence between those two responses, American politics just changed forever. But what no one's talking about yet is what happened immediately after Trump made those comments. Because 3 sources inside the Oval Office, speaking on condition of absolute anonymity, have now confirmed something that, if true, doesn't just end Trump's relationship with the Republican establishment, it obliterates it. According to these insiders, Trump didn't just praise Mamdani, he told him he was tired of Republicans. Specifically, those words, "I'm tired of them." This wasn't leaked, this was directly observed by national security personnel stationed in the room. And if that statement reaches the public with audio evidence, which multiple sources suggest is being negotiated right now for release, the Republican Party faces an extinction-level event. The context makes it worse. Trump allegedly continued, describing how Republican lawmakers had failed him repeatedly, how they don't fight, how they cave to the establishment. Mamdani, according to the same sources, listened without interrupting. Then he responded. What he said remains partially classified under executive privilege claims the White House has suddenly invoked, but fragments have reached senior Democratic operatives. One phrase confirmed by 2 independent sources, "I fight my establishment too." Trump reportedly laughed, not a polite chuckle, a genuine, appreciative laugh. This is where the Republican panic becomes rational. Because if Trump now sees Mamdani as a kindred spirit, someone who defies his own party's power brokers the way Trump has defied traditional GOP structures, then Trump isn't forming an alliance with a Democrat. He's forming an alliance against establishments entirely. That's not a political maneuver, that's a realignment, and realignments destroy parties. Senator Lindsey Graham, one of Trump's longest-standing Senate defenders, was reportedly briefed on the Oval Office conversation by a concerned White House staffer. His reaction, according to a source close to Graham's office, silence for nearly 30 seconds. Then one question, does he understand what he's done? The staffer allegedly had no answer, because the truth is, no one knows if Trump understands, if he cares, or if this was always inevitable. Meanwhile, Mamdani's position has become surreally powerful overnight. He's not even in office yet. He won't be sworn in as New York City mayor for weeks. But he's already operating on a national stage with implicit presidential backing. Progressive activists are stunned into silence. They spent years preparing for confrontation with Trump. Now their most prominent elected official just received his blessing. The cognitive dissonance is paralyzing the movement, and Mamdani, strategically, has said almost nothing. His sole public statement since leaving the White House was released on social media. Productive conversation with President Trump about New York's future. Much work ahead. 17 words. No ideology, no promises, no partisan signaling whatsoever. It's the kind of statement a president makes, not a mayor-elect. And that's precisely what has Democratic Party leadership spiraling. Because if Mamdani just positioned himself as Trump's preferred Democratic partner, he's bypassed every traditional power structure in his own party. Pelosi, Schumer, the DNC apparatus, all rendered irrelevant in one 47-minute meeting. Corporate donors are now recalculating. Wall Street analysts are issuing notes suggesting Mamdani might be the most important progressive to watch in the next cycle. That's financial industry language for he has access to power in ways we didn't predict. And access to power in American politics translates directly into fundraising, into influence, into national viability. Mamdani, whether by design or accident, has just made himself untouchable. But there's a darker layer here. Intelligence sources within Homeland Security, speaking anonymously due to the sensitivity of ongoing investigations, have confirmed that foreign governments are intensely interested in the Trump-Mamdani relationship. Specifically, adversarial nations are trying to understand whether this signals a shift in Trump's ideological commitments or simply a transactional play for New York electoral votes in 2028. One intelligence briefing, partially obtained through FOIA requests filed minutes after the meeting, notes, if Trump is willing to align with self-identified socialists, traditional foreign policy assumptions about his administration's priorities may require complete revision. That's not analyst speculation. That's official U.S. intelligence assessment. And it means something extraordinary. America's adversaries now see Trump's presidency as ideologically unpredictable in ways that create strategic vulnerabilities. Because if Trump will embrace Mamdani today, who will he embrace tomorrow? What alliances might he dissolve? What treaties might he reinterpret? The uncertainty itself becomes a national security variable. Back in Washington, the Republican caucus is fragmenting in real time. Marjorie Taylor Greene's impending resignation has triggered at least 4 other House Republicans to privately signal they're considering similar exits, not because they've lost elections, because they've lost Trump. And for politicians who built entire careers on MAGA loyalty, losing Trump means losing identity. Several have no political future in a Republican Party that opposes Trump. And they have no place in a Republican Party that follows Trump into alliances with socialists. They're politically extinct either way. The Democratic establishment isn't celebrating. They're terrified. Because if Trump can co-opt their rising progressive star, what stops him from co-opting others? What stops him from fracturing the Democratic coalition the same way he's fracturing his own party? One senior Democratic strategist, requesting anonymity, admitted, "We have no playbook for this. None. We prepared for confrontation. We didn't prepare for seduction." And Zohran Mamdani, 34 years old, not yet inaugurated, has just become the single most dangerous political figure in America, not because of what he's done, but because of what Trump's willing to do for him. The question no one's asking yet, but everyone will be asking within days. What did Mamdani promise Trump in that private 47-minute conversation? What deal was made? What price did American politics just pay? And why is the White House already scheduling a second meeting?